So, again, super fast recap of everything in this new PTB, and there's a lot. The most important thing, there's a new survivor. Her name is Michaela Reed. Like any survivor, she shares the normal stats, but she's very cute. Her cosmetics are sweet, and I'm sure she'll get many pretty ones in the future. The most important part she brings are her perks. The first perk is a bit of an info perk, like Visionary or Detectives. I think it's pretty good. I think it's great for beginners. In indoor maps, it might be very nice. You cleanse one totem, which you're probably going to do anyway for inner strength to get rid of wound. And now you have the ability to see generators, chests, hooks, and exit gates. I think that's pretty dope. I like it. Not a meta perk, but I think it's great. The next two perks, though, are the Boon perks. And these are perks that are like reverse hexes. Survivors find a totem. If it's a duel, they just bless it. And it's the same as cleansing it. And if it's a hex, they cleanse it and bless it at the same time, removing the hex and applying the boon. So, basically, when you apply the boon with Circle of Healing, it will do one effect. If you apply the boon Shadow Step, it will do another effect. If you have both of them, both effects at the same time for you and your teammates. So this one is insane. When you apply this, you can heal each other at twice the speed, and you can heal yourself at twice the speed of normal self-care. So 16 seconds to heal yourself with no medkit, and 8 seconds to heal someone else with no medkit. And it, of course, stacks with perks and medkits. So this perk is crazy strong. This one is actually also very good. If you put it in a good spot, it can make some chases there a real challenge. It's like giving survivors a bit of a powerful lucky break-like effect. Not as powerful as the other one, perhaps, but very good. Here's the thing. If the killer finds a totem, they can step on it, and then the totem disappears, and you need to place it again. But you can place it again. So if survivors are smart and they don't throw the game to place these perks, they're actually really, really strong. So I personally think that they should be a one-time thing. And if the killer finds it, well, too bad, you should have hidden it better. But yeah, very, very strong in their current effect. As you can imagine, healing yourself fast is pretty insane, even if you have to spend a little bit of time. So very, very good stuff. Now, there was also a bunch of killer changes. Let's review them really fast. One of the biggest changes are for the Trapper. The Trapper now starts with 2 traps on his hands and can carry 2 traps by default without any add-ons. That is awesome. On every map out there, there will also be 6 traps on every map guaranteed, which was not the case before. Awesome. His iridescents have not changed. They're pretty good, and now you can mix them up more because you don't need to have a bag. So that's great. The Honing Stone, just as good as before. The Oily Coil, actually a really good add-on when you reset a trap. The survivor that disarms it has their aura revealed. This Tension Spring is also a cute add-on. Anytime a survivor escapes, is rescued, or you grab them out of a trap, that trap reopens 2 seconds later. So it saves you a bit of time. The Trapper Sack is a crazy add-on. It allows you to carry all of your traps at once, but once you set them down, you can never ever pick them up. So this helps a lot to set down basement and do crazy things or crazy 3-gens. I think it's pretty dangerous, but also risky, of course, because you cannot relocate the traps. The fastening tools do the same thing, basically. They're a bit faster. Rusted Jaws have the same effect. Secondary Coil, same effect. Tire Bottles is good as ever. Trapper Bag is basically now like the old brown add-on, gives you an extra trap. You don't need it, but it's good. Same effect, basically. This one's really nice. When you set a trap, you get a 5% speed boost, which I think is very nice if you use your traps aggressively in chase, which now you can use more. I love the lengthened jaws. I think they're great. If a survivor is stuck on a trap and they escape, they get deep boots, even if they get rescued. The serrated jaws, I think the hemorrhage, until hemorrhage is buffed someday, I think is bad, but whatever. The wax breaks now just makes escaping slower, not too bad. This add-on makes your setting of traps silent, situational but good for a brown. This add-on allows you to go through your own traps, and instead of being caught in them, the trap is just disarmed. So this can allow you to play a bit more aggressively. If a survivor dead hards through a trap, you can go through it. If you need to go to basement and there's one of your traps in the way, you can go through it and reset it later. I think pretty damn good, depending on the build. The padded jaws are the same as ever. They just have a fun little sound effect now that's very satisfying. And the Trapper gloves are slightly better than before. Overall, Trapper's doing a lot better. He's not an S tier killer, but hey, it feels a lot better to play him without add-ons now, I would say. Wraith has had very few changes. One of his most busted add-ons, the All-Seeing, has gone from 12 meters auto reading to 8 meters auto reading. And he is now also a little bit less good at doing a crazy lunge when you uncloak. From 1.25 to 1 second. So, you know, do the math. Like a fifth reduce. Hillbilly has had a lot of his add-ons reworked, which is kind of fun. His iridescents have not changed. Both of his engravings now reduce the heat by a comparable amount. So to use the engravings, you will not be producing more heat, comparatively speaking. So that's good. The Doom engravings, the same thing. You do not have any issues now where you create more heat than necessary. I'm seeing some good news in the chat, by the way. Good stuff. The Pig House gloves. These add-ons were anti-overheat add-ons. They were really bad. Now they're not the best, but they have a really cool effect. Basically, if you overheat your Chainsaw accidentally or on purpose, you get brutal strength and you get enduring during the overheat period. This is kind of cool. If you're chasing a survivor and you just want to do the M1, you can use this to quickly deal with pallet stunts and not be afraid of pallet stunts. I think it's a cool situational add-on, even though probably not super meta or anything like that. The spike boots have not changed. The Toon Carburetor used to be 20%, is now 25%. Still has a really, really bad downside to it. Probably not very good still, but a little bit better than before. The Black Grease used to be really, really bad. Now it actually is quite interesting. If you get blinded for the next 30 seconds, your Chainsaw is a lot faster. And you can use it now with Mother's Helpers. If you get stunned and blinded, your Chainsaw will be quite faster. They buffed this from 12% to 18%, which is noticeable. And it has a little buff indicator letting you know how long it lasts. So these two items are a little bit cute. The Leafy Mash, the low kickback chains, and I think everything else has not been changed. So nothing extraordinary amazing, but hey, I think pretty good changes. Nerfs has had the Torn Bookmark reworked. This add-on gave you a third blink, but you could not blink through solid objects. So if you went to an indoor map or a map with a lot of walls, this add-on was more trouble than it was worth. Right now they've changed that. They've just made the add-on make your blinks recharge much slower, which you can mitigate. This is 50% penalty, and you can mitigate it by 20%. But you get 3 blinks. 3 blinks on Nerfs is absurd. You can do 1 to get close, 1 for the deadhard, and 1 for the hit. It's pretty dumb. I don't know how I feel about this. I think good nurses will probably make your life miserable with this. Good luck. Yeah, not sure how I feel about it, especially when we still have recharge add-ons and whatnot. By the way, you might have noticed all of the add-ons now have the numbers instead of slightly and moderately and tremendously. Great change. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe this will actually be balanced. But I'm not a huge fan. Hunters has had no changes. Shape has had very interesting changes. There used to be a 5th yellow add-on, which is the Memorial Flower. It was one of the best yellow add-ons, and now they've made it a brown, which means it's even more of a great pick. Run this add-on, it's pretty good. The Vanity Mirror now has no speed penalty, which makes you a really good information gathering tier 2 Myers. I think this is actually a really decent add-on right now. So that's cool. And the big tombstone, not this one, but the big tombstone used to make you very slow and it was a bit of a joke. Now it only makes you slow in tier 3. So that's pretty good, honestly. It makes it a bit better than before. And it's more of a serious add-on now to actually have to worry about. So hey, not too bad for Myers. Tag. She's the same as ever. The Waterlogged Shoe, which is the add-on that makes you slower, but makes your traps hinder survivors. It was terrible. Now they made it so that when you use it, you're 115 killer. So it turns you into a 115 killer with a small terror radius that has like a worse slowdown than Clown. But you know, it's cool, I guess. They just made a meme add-on a little bit better. Doctor, Cannibal, Freddy, Unchanged, Pig. Many changes on Pig. So they've reshifted many of the add-ons. The Amanda's letter is basically the same, but it has a larger auto reading, which is awesome. And instead of having 2 boxes to search, they now still have 4 boxes to search. So, whatever. I think this add-on can maybe be okay-ish with some of the other things, but it's a bit of a gimmicky add-on still. The other ultra rare is the videotape. Sorry. And this one's actually super fucking cool. What happens is, instead of starting with 4 traps, your 4 traps will now be automatically placed on the survivors. So instead of having slowdown throughout the game, you will have slowdown at the very start. And it will be on you to find them and harass them, instead of like putting them one by one. So it's a cool idea, and it combos really well with some of the other add-ons. The old videotape has now become the workshop grease. The sharded syringe works the same. John's medical file makes you move 6% faster while you're crouched. Interesting. This add-on, which was useless, is now more decent. If they missed a skill check and they're injured, they now have to mend, which is pretty mean. Similar idea with this add-on. If they are healthy and they miss a skill check, now they're injured, which is kind of bad and they need to heal later. So survivors that are good shouldn't be missing skill checks, but hey, I've missed skill checks before on boxes, so yeah. The utility blades still apply hemorrhage. Please buff hemorrhage, it's bad. The last will is now a really interesting add-on that's a bit like engravings. And basically, it makes your dash take longer to charge, but you also go further. The general consensus is that it's not very good, but it could be in the future with a few changes, and it does enable some interesting playstyles. Face mask, toxin, rusty hasn't changed. The rule set number 2 was a very bad iridescent. Now it's a pretty decent green, and it goes really well with some of the other add-ons, like for example the new jigsaw sketch. If they have a trap and they do generators, they now make those generators visible to you. So you put them you give them the rule set number 2, and if they do gens because they cannot see the boxes, then you see them. And if they go for the boxes, they might be lost because they don't see the arrows. Cool idea. The jigsaw annotated plan gives you an extra reverse bear trap, but it also increases the timer. So a bit more slowdown, but you're not going to be head popping. Similar idea with the jigsaw sketch. The crate of gears and bag of gears make you set down traps faster, but they don't delay the survivors as much, and the tamper timer has been nerfed. So much so that collectively, it should be a lot harder to do guaranteed head pops. In my opinion, good thing. Amanda's secret hasn't changed, and Amanda's letter, as we explained, hasn't changed much. If you're wondering, this is just the event add-on from last year. Next up. So yeah, overall the pig is not any weaker or anything, but she's more fun. Clan hasn't received any changes. Spirit has received a lot of changes. She basically plays the same as before, but she now emits a noise when she's using her power, which more or less tells survivors when you're coming. She's still hard to play against, don't take me wrong. But many of her strongest add-ons have been gutted. The brown add-ons are all the same, and as far as I'm concerned, they're still pretty good. The yellow add-ons are all the same, and as far as I'm concerned, they're all pretty good, except the Juniper Bonsai. This add-on gives you your power back entirely when you get stunned. I love it. This add-on gives you your power back. Where is it? Oh, yeah, that's an iridescent, sorry. The other iridescent gives you your power back when you break a pallet or a wall. I love it. The Yakuyoki amulet is still very good. But if you pair it with the modded data ring, it's not as powerful anymore. The modded data ring immediately removes the scratch marks, not like before where the old ones were still visible. So it's a small nerf to how this add-on works. This add-on is kind of weird. It shows you the killer instinct. If you're very close to a survivor, can help you hit them a bit. This one is a tracer blink add-on that makes you teleport back. Situational at best. This is the prayer bead bracelet, just renamed, just to mess with the survivor's brain. This one's still very decent. You know what it does. Makes you faster when you reappear. This add-on is horrible. The recovery one is pretty good. And this one seems fun. But if I had to guess, it's probably not very good. It just blocks vaults where you use your power. Survivors are probably going to be holding forward and not staying around your husk because it's a risky idea. So, yeah. Overall, her strongest add-ons have all been shifted and removed or nerfed, so she will still be strong, but not the powerhouse she was before. How much weaker she is? Hard to say. but a little bit at least. So that's it for the Spirit. Legion, no changes. Plague, huge changes. So what's up with Plague? Sorry. The Black Incense has been nerfed a little bit, but it's okay because she has a lot of base kit changes to make up for it. The Iridescent Seal doesn't slow you down anymore, which is awesome. The duration add-on was 8 seconds, it's now 20 seconds. Great. This add-on is probably now even more useful than before because your base infection has gone from 35 seconds to 40 seconds by default, so 5 seconds longer. And there's a lot of add-ons to help increase that a lot. So, with this add-on, if you passively infect survivors, they will get to red state and be injured much quicker. This add-on used to infect them faster. It doesn't do that anymore. It now makes your vomit reach targets faster. As McLean pointed out, this also means that you now have a 10% bigger range. You can actually spit further. It's cool. The tablet has not been changed. I think this add-on is all kinds of bonkers, but whatever. It's a good add-on. The apples are basically the same as before. They now increase the amount of pulls. I don't really know how that factors in. This used to be in 6 seconds duration. It's now 10 seconds duration. This used to be cooldown, and it was a really good add-on. Now it basically makes everyone in your territories scream when you pick up a pool of devotion. I think that's awesome, by the way. I think it could be quite good. This add-on increases the effectiveness. Same as this. They've both been changed a little bit. You can stack them, you can use them by themselves. I don't think they're a must-have, but because the Plague has a nicer cooldown now, where her speed is much greater, you are a lot more rewarded for trying to infect the survivors. If you miss an infection, you don't immediately slow down a lot. So that feels really good. That being said, the rubbing oil and the cooldown add-ons are still very good. The rubbing oil has been nerfed from 100 to 50. I guess it's fine considering just how good she is with her cooldown now, so that's totally okay. But this add-on was pretty nuts. This add-on increased the time by 10 seconds. Now it's 30 seconds. So if you spit on a gen, that gen is infected for 70 seconds. That's forever, dude. That's literally forever. So this add-on is very good. The cooldown is so good that you can literally hit a survivor so fast that they still have iframes from the last hit. So yeah, the cooldown add-on is incredibly good, and so is the brown cooldown. The prophylactic amulet, it decreases from 6 to 4 the amount of pulls, which is really weird, but also can be useful in some builds. It basically chokes the survivors into not being able to cleanse in as many places. Not immediately good, but if in the right build, I think it could be interesting. Cooldown, very good. Increases the affection 20 seconds for a brown. I think it's crazy. This is a nice add-on for beginners, especially when a survivor cleanses. You will not only see the thing light up if you're fast to check, but you also see the aura, so you see where they go next. So that's pretty nice. And the Plague has this prayer tablet fragment, which is like a meme add-on. It basically makes it so that you cannot infect survivors directly. You can only infect them by spitting on gens and they touch them, but you can also spit on pallets and windows as they are about to drop them or vault them. And the catch is that it increases the infection duration by 40 seconds. And if they work on a gen that's infected, they get infected twice as fast. Overall, I don't think it's that crazy, but if you think about it, if you put this and this, like, you can literally infect objects forever. Forever. And in a 3-gen scenario, that means anyone doing a gen literally gets infected in like 25 seconds or it's pretty crazy. So the idea behind this is at least interesting. I'll try to wrap my head around how good or bad it is. But yeah, Plague feels smooth as hell right now. When you successfully puke, the cooldown is super nice. There's not this crazy slowdown. And here's the thing, if you cancel your puke, the cooldown is also much nicer. And if you puke a little bit and you don't reach the minimum, instead of swallowing your puke and going through the cooldown, you now do the minimum amount of puke. Like Huntress, where if you tap, you throw the hatchet with the least amount of charge. So that also feels super great. And overall, the Plague has received a really nice treatment. Probably the best killer to come out of this patch. Ghostface is also very lucky. He used to have basically 3 add-ons that were a must-have. The Olsen Address Book, which reduced his cooldown by 6. This one by 8. And this one by 4. And because he has a 30-second cooldown that was horrible, you always wanted some of these add-ons in your build. Now they've made it so that the add-ons are much weaker, which is bad. But they've also made it so that his power is only 24 seconds by default. So I can put this, and now I have 20 seconds, which is very reasonable, and I can now do this. Or if I want to, I can even use some of the other add-ons that you normally wouldn't use, that are not super good, without any recovery. It's a nice change, although if I'm completely honest, this add-on is garbage, 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 this add-on is garbage. Every other add-on other than the recoveries and like a select one or two are hot garbage. So I'm hoping more changes in the future. But if you play him without add-ons, oh my god, you are like 6 seconds earlier every single time is a very, very nice deal. So yeah, overall, I think Ghostface is a little bit better. Next, Demo did not receive any changes, neither did the Oni, I think. Deathslinger has been hit with a pretty massive nerf. He now has a 32-meter terror radius, up from 24. He still moves at 110. And instead of being able to shoot immediately with his gun, he now needs to ADS. Oh yeah, the top knot apparently was nerfed a little bit. This was 100%. This was what? 1 second? Now it's half a second. Yeah, thank you for that, chat. So yeah, now you need to aim for 0.4 seconds before shooting. It's not a super huge deal. It does make him feel a bit sluggish. But yeah, you don't have as many crazy insta shots as you could before, and you need to be a lot more deliberate. There's not really any significant buffs to compensate, but there are a few. His iridescents are now easier to use. The expose is only 12 meters instead of 15, so you can actually use this more. This is now a 10-second undetectable status effect. I don't find it crazy effective. The add-ons to reduce the terror radius no longer have penalties, but his terror radius is bigger, so meh. The real kicker, though, is that his breaking chain stun animation, I think it used to be 4 seconds or something crazy. It's now quite shorter. So if you have the Bayshore cigar and the tobacco, you actually have a crazy fast recovery. So shooting a survivor and then injuring them by breaking the chain on purpose with these two add-ons is actually like a save the best for last effect. It's actually really, really good and could be one of the stronger things to do now. So looking forward to seeing how that pans out. Overall, a bit of a nerf, but with this, you might not. With some of these new weapons, his meta and I guess his playstyle will change slightly. Executioner was not touched, hopefully in the future. Blight hasn't really been touched, but 2 of his add-ons were touched. The Summoning Stone now has a bigger range and bigger duration. Awesome. And the Adrenaline Vial is still a meme add-on that makes you horrible. But it's a meme add-on that actually feels a little bit better because you're a little bit faster and it honestly doesn't feel as terrible as before. So I tried it for a little bit. And if you're gonna go for memes, I feel like it's improved a tiny little bit. But yeah, no other nerfs or changes, which will probably make many people happy. Twins has not been changed as far as I know. Trickster has not been changed. Nemesis and Cenobite also have not changed. But several of the perks for both sides have been changed. We would need to go through the patch notes to really address them. So I think we're gonna do that right now, just for the perk side. All right, so perks. Yeah. Right, killer perks. Retribution now makes everyone hold up. Yeah, Retribution now makes everyone oblivious when they touch a totem, which is a bit of a warning, which is bad, but it also lasts for 15 seconds instead of 10, which is good. Blood Favor has had a massive buff. Almost any damaging special attack now triggers it. So Hunter's Hatchet triggers it. Even a single knife of the Trickster triggers it. I'm pretty sure this will be patched and it will be only when he injures. Nemesis Tentacles, any M2 attack that hits directly, except Trapper Bird Traps, except Plague Green Puke, although the Red Puke works, and some other like common sense applications. For example, the Puddles on Clown or the Shocks on Doctors, they don't work. But almost anything that hits you counts. So that makes Blood Favor actually quite good. Third Seal also applies with special attacks, which means Legion can now apply it really quickly, for example. Not a crazy buff, but hey, not bad. Thrill the Hunt also makes it so that when survivors bless totems with the new perk types, they're slower. Apparently, the loud noise notification has been removed, even though I'm pretty sure I heard it. It will be removed. And Mindbreaker, now on top of making you exhausted, makes you blinded. So if you have Kindred, Detective's Hunch, Windows of Opportunity, with Mindbreaker, you are taking that information away for at least 5 seconds after they leave. So that's pretty nice. Survivor perks. Now for Survivor perks, there's been a bunch of balances. Visual went from 20% to 30%, so you recover faster from exhaustion and also now from selected instances of exposed and stuff like that. It doesn't affect directly Myers or Ghostface or most killers, but some perks, Visual will help you recover faster. Apparently, Babysitter will also now make you faster when you remove someone from the hook. For the people has a shorter cooldown. Windows Opportunity has no cooldown. Repress Alliance triggers faster. Build to Last now works differently. It's bugged in the PTB, but it can get you your item back if you go into a locker. Personally, I think it's really strong. Enemies has a shorter cooldown, and No Mither lets you recover faster on the ground, which is not very good, because if the killer is smart, they'll never slug you on the ground with No Mither. And if you're smart, you'll never run No Mither in the first place. So that's pretty much it. Nothing super crazy on the perks, but it's nice to see some variety. So with that out of the way, I think we've covered all of the changes super fast. Overall, Stonks of Trapper, Plague, way up. Ghostface and Pig, not necessarily stronger, but a little bit more fun. Slinger, a little bit of an oof. And Spirit, if you loved her add-ons that were super mega dumb, especially the strong green ones, a little bit of a Japanese oof as well. So yeah, not a big deal though. Spirit's still probably pretty powerful. If you weren't carried by your add-ons, you'll still kick ass. And Slinger, hopefully they'll find a way to balance him out. Right now he's just a little bit worse. But yeah, with other killers like Myers, you have more options for add-ons. With Billy, you have more options for add-ons, and some of the other changes were very welcome. So it's good stuff, right? I think so. I think this PTB was pretty fun. I'll be hitting you with some highlight videos, and we'll be testing a bunch of other little things to show you some of the spicier moments and changes. But yeah, that's all. That was the recap. I hope that it was thorough.